Hello, my name is Edward Alexander Villamil Martinez, and today we're going to talk about the chapter 5, the John Conison Catford Foundation of Linguistic Theory of Traslation. Okay, Conison research interesting in this book focused on translation theory, phonetics, and second language teaching, learning for Catford. Translation is a linguistic operation in which a text of the one language is replaced by a text of another language. Cater followed the general theory of language put forward by Major Alexander Kirkwood, who in turn had been influenced by this teacher, John Rupert Firth, recognized as one of the great English linguists. The starting point of this general theory is that language is a type of human behavior based on patterns. This behavior is externalized in a bodily activity that has an executor and receiver. As a speaker and listener, and the writing medium with a writer and reader. When the speaker says the same thing, his vocal activity follows the same pattern. This activity, this linguistic activity, is present in a given situation, in which there are objects, events, relation, etc., that make the speaker produce these vocal movements and not others. In this way, language is manifested in a certain type of behavior. Um, for example, vowel movements, and is related to certain objects, events, etc. The category the categories of linguistic theory are unit, structure, class, and system. The unit is the part of linguistic activity that is the carrier of a pattern of particular type. For example, in English phonology, the tone group is a unit querying recurring patterns of pitch. Some grammatical units are the sentence, the clause, and the group. Grammatical and phonological units operate in hierarchies. They form a scale of units with different ranks. On the other hand, a structure is an organization of elements. For example, the elements of the unit clausure in English are P, predicate, is subject, and C, complement. The class on the class in grouping the class is a grouping of members of a unit in terms of the way they operate, and in the next higher structure in the rank scale, and the structure corresponds to organization, usually in linear sequence of the elements. And finally, a system is a finite set of the alternatives among which one must choose. An example of grammatical system is the singular or plural number system, and singular, dual, plural, or many language. The translating does not mean transforming one linguistic system into another per se in means with the framework of a bilingual communicative process understanding that source text says determinative and connotative meanings why it says its authorial intention for effects on receive and in accordance with this departments recreating a text in the target language that has a similar effect on the received pragmatic dimension. By means of referential and connotative context required a text in the target language that has a similar effect on the received pragmatic dimension. By means of the referential and connotative context, as far as possible, similar semantic dimension through the expressive, grammatical, and lexical recourse of the target language, stylistic dimension. That's all of the chapter. The next chapter is the chapter 17, Grammar Studies and Translations, Sherry Simons and Louis von Flotow. In, in translatory, Grammar Study also a copy on very important places on uses related to cultural identity, power, gender as cultural construct, and translation of a type of cultural transfer. For Simon, translation is seen as from the engagement with the literature as with the engagement and with literature. As king of literary activism is proposed is to show how translators contribute to cultural debate and the creation of new lines of cultural communication. In addition, Simona's uses of identity includes gender, become as a crucial factor in understand today culture. For Simon, historically, both male and female translations have occupied a weak place in the respective hierarchies. The former have been the vessels of authors, and the latter have been inferior to men in discourse. Celebrity women and translators have also been relegated. There is also the imaginary that the original is masculine, strong, and generative, and the reproduction. The translation is feminine, the weak, and derived. Hence, Simon points out the sexist vocabulary uses to describe the translation process should come as no surprise, domination and inferiority. The Felian licentiousness on the classic formula of the formula that translation is a beautiful infidel in placing both fractions. Simon states that feminist translation theory seeks to identify and criticate the concepts that relegate women and translation to the bottom of the social and literary related. And this story, um, this story, the process by which relation translation has become feminist and question is the structures of authority that have maintained this association. In this sense, feminist tradition reconfigures fidelity, which in the story of tradition has become a burdensome refrain and is not longer oriented towards the author of the reading, but towards the reading project is which the writer and the translator participate. For Simon, a feminist and linguistical inclusive interpretation are essential interpretive insight that draws attention to the implication of the gendered language, whether our voices calling for the use on the of the inclusive language in Bible versions that, for example, have taken shape in the publication of the New Testament and the postman there are also other voices, including feminist one, calling for historical determined versions. Um, in the same way is for the relationships between the translatory and cultural study, Simon considers that gender should the project which the respect to cultural uses of the identity gender is a component of identity and experience that like other cultural identities is configured through social conscience. In terms of the very definition of genders, Simon following Judy Butler points of the points of the gender is not primary identity that emerges from the depths of the self, but a discursive construction that enunciated in multiple places, which is why Simon's emphasis on the variability of gender discourse, although they also warns that this is not always a relevant factor in the work of translation. There, there are not priori characteristics that make women more or less component in their craft. That is all. Thank you.